Good afternoon, everyone. This is Queenie Clem with Queenie's Book Talk and Reviews, and I am your literary ambassador. And today on my channel, I have Rasheedah Jackson, an author of From Pillar to Commandments, My Journey to Conversion. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Thank you, and thanks for stopping by today. Okay, tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. Well, I'm 30 years old. I currently live in Mississippi. I'm a public relations director for a college. I am in school right now, currently getting my master's in clinical mental health. Um, I love to write. I like outdoors. I'm a beach person, very family oriented. I like to do community service with my sorority. I'm just a very outgoing, vibrant person. I love to read. I'm an extrovert, but also an introvert at the same time.
Mhm.
So that's just a little bit about myself that people should know.
Okay. What made you want to become an author?
Honestly, growing up, my mom used to write a lot and my grandmother. And I remember my mom, she used to always take me to her writing group she had where they were all writing their own individual books. So they were a writing club, writing their individual books, proofreading each other's stuff. And that stuck with me for a long time. I always liked to write, but as I got older, I tried to kind of run away from that talent, but God told me that I was meant to write a book, to be
Mhm.
honest.
Mhm.
So that's one of the reasons I became an author. And then, of course, I just feel like we need more African American women authors or just African American authors, period, out there in the world today.
Okay. What inspired you to write this book?
Um, what inspired me to write this book is it's something that's not talked about. It's not talked about in the Black community a lot.
Mhm.
Religion is a very sensitive subject, and not even just African Americans, everybody. Religion is very sensitive, period. And I know how I felt when I was in the process of going through conversion. I know other people probably felt the same way. And then one day on Facebook, I asked if I were to tell my story about my conversion, how many people would be interested in that. And the response was amazing. I had over 150 likes, over 50 comments.
Mhm.
So I then knew that, okay, you need to write this book.
Okay. Can you tell us about your book now? You can show the cover and then talk about it.
Sure. Okay, so this is the cover of my book. It's me on there. You can see the cross that I go by now. It's by Toni Morrison. May she rest in peace. She has a quote that says, "If there's a book that you want to read, but it hasn't been written, then you must write it." So this is kind of what inspired me also to write my book. My book initially talks about how I grew up as a Black Muslim in a household with a Christian father, a Muslim mother. I talk about how, as children, we don't get the choice of religion and how that can later down the road be confusing, especially if you grew up in a household with two separate religions. I also went to a Christian school K through eighth grade.
Mhm.
So that was confusing. And then my mom was the matriarch of the family. So, of course, I grew up Muslim. So I was going through a confusing time because I was learning one thing at home, but then learning something else at school.
Mhm.
And then I really honestly didn't understand who God was or what he was growing up either. I just assumed that was somebody that we prayed to. As time transpired throughout my life, I tried to run away from God. I lost faith in God. I decided I didn't believe in God at one point. I talked about a lot of abusive relationships I was in, or how things just kept going wrong in my life until I decided to accept God in my life. One day, I went to a church, and at that church, God spoke to me. And then I knew that I wanted to convert. I was scared at first because I thought, well, maybe my family might be disappointed because I'm not going to be Muslim anymore. But I knew that spiritually fed, that I needed to do this for me. And once I converted over, my life changed for the better. I met my future husband, well, my husband now. I met my husband. I got into school to do a different career. Things started flowing smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, it was bad relationships. I was having issues with my job. Things were just going wrong. And I just want my book to teach us how to be, one, better human beings towards each other, because we don't know each other's background. And number two, that God is always there no matter what, whether you feel like he's not there, he's there. He's there watching you. He's always there with you. You're not by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's a synopsis of my book.
Okay. What did you learn when writing this book?
I learned that I grew a lot. I had a lot of hate in my heart during the process of writing the book of, towards Christians because of how I got treated growing up as a Muslim. But what I learned is that you cannot base the actions of people off of the religion. Like you have to separate the two. The religion never did anything to me, the individuals did. I also learned that I'm not alone, and there are other people like me, or just need some guidance, or just need that push to say, hey, I want this relationship with God, and I don't have to be scared. And when God calls you to tell you to do something, you just have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I would have never thought in a million years I would share my story or my book with anybody.
Okay. What surprised you the most when writing it?
That I actually finished it. It took 2 years to write. I really thought I was never going to get done writing it. And then the process through getting it published and
Mm-hmm.
being nervous about what people would think about writing my book, reading my book. So I have received a lot of great feedback. I haven't had any negative feedback. I always ask people what they think or engage in conversation about my book so I can know what to do better for the next one that I write.
Okay. What does the title mean? I'm going to pull it down from here.
Okay.
But what does the title mean, From Pillars to Commandments? My journey to conversion.
So the title means pillars are equivalent to the commandments. So Muslims follow the pillars of Islam. There are 5 pillars, and I talk about that in my book, that they follow. Like it's the life lessons, the lay of the land, what you're supposed to do. And then the commandments are, of course, God's 10 commandments. So I went from obeying the 5 pillars when I was Muslim and I was of Islam faith to the 10 commandments of being a Christian now. So that's where I got the idea, because it's different. It's a different title. And also the book teaches you about both religions, so that's what the title means.
Okay. Now, what was your purpose? I think you answered this, but what is your purpose in writing this book?
My purpose is to, one, educate people about another religion, of course. 2, to be a better human being. Despite our differences, we're still people. We're still people of God, whether who or what we identify with. You're not supposed to judge your neighbor, even if they are different from you. You're supposed to love on them and teach them Jesus's way or God's way. And to just be knowledgeable of how to be a better person, and just to know that God is always there. God will never leave you. You are not alone in this world. And to just give people a push to know that nobody's perfect at all, and God just saved you.
How will readers benefit from reading this book?
I think the book is very insightful. I think book will also make people think. You know, a lot of people don't realize when it comes to religion, oftentimes we don't choose what religion we're going to be. Our parents or grandparents chooses that for us. And it's a better understanding of, well, why are you this versus that? Or how did you grow up? All of that plays a big role into that.
Okay, where can readers find you? And
Oh,
here's the book again for everybody to see.
okay, my book is offered on Amazon. You can type in my name, Rasheedah Jackson. It's offered in paperback or on the Kindle. They could follow me on Facebook, author Rasheedah Jackson, as well as my Instagram page, and on Twitter, I believe it is author R Jackson.
Okay. And is there anything else you would like to add before we close?
Well, thank you for the opportunity of discussing my book. And I am working on writing my second book. I'm not sure when I'll be finished with that, but I am working on another book.
Okay, well, we just will it be similar to this one, or can you talk about it?
Um, we'll see where it goes. This one focuses more. This one focuses more on friendships, toxic friendships, how we don't learn how to be a friend, how we're raised, and how all of that stuff ties in together and who we are as a person. It's just a different hindsight. And I even talk about myself and how I was a bad friend as well. So we'll see, because you never know what happens, because God might pull me in a different direction to write
Yes,
something.
yes. All right, you heard it from Rasheedah Jackson, and this again is her book, From Pillars to Commandments, My Journey to Conversion. And I would like to thank her for coming in today and gracing us. Um, this is Queenie Clem with Queenie's Book Talk and Reviews. Happy reading. Bye, y'all.